Hi guys, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome again to my channel. My name is Jasmina from Jasmina Astrology, and today I have my amazing astrology friend Hannah with me again. Hi Hannah, how are you?
Hi, Jasmina. I'm so happy to be here. I'm excited to talk about Synastry charts with you.
Yes. So we decided to collaborate again and talk about synastry. So synastry trust is comparing how two charts work. So how two people get along. It doesn't have to be a romantic relationship. It can be between a parent and a child, or friendships, or business, really anybody. But today we chose to talk about Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, and because they're such a powerful loving couple and they seem to get along, to see why is that happening. But before we go into and dive into their chart, Hannah, can you just tell us a little bit about synastry charts in general? What do you how do you see that technique?
Yes. So the way I view Synastry charts is we're exploring the compatibility, or the compatibility between two or more people, the relationship between them. So how they relate, how they differ. We can look at certain aspects. Then, for example, squares could be challenges, tension, but then there's also the ability to overcome those. And then with sextiles and trines, there could be perhaps more of a harmonious feel. But of course, there's more to it. There's more layers. It's always good to look at the bigger picture. But synastry is great because we can really just dive in then, because it goes further than just, oh, well, I'm an Aquarius sun, so therefore I get on well with like Gemini suns or
Yeah,
Aries suns. We're diving deeper basically, and we're looking at the bigger picture between people.
I love that. I want to say hi to Danielle. Hello,
Hi,
welcome,
Danielle.
welcome everybody. We are open to questions as well. Always we like interaction. So if you have any questions about anything, let us know. Um, in general, for in synastry, what I look is moons. So the compatibility of moons, and why is that? Because moon is our emotional need. So if moons are not compatible, it doesn't mean it won't work. It will just be harder. So when the moons are compatible, and quickly, just what does that mean? So in general, when we talk about compatibility today, we're going to talk that air and fire signs go together, and earth and water. So air, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius goes better with Leo, Sagittarius, and Aries. And then water, Cancer, Pisces, and Scorpio goes with a Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn together. Any two planets, but moons especially, because if you have a Leo moon and Scorpio moon, like it's just they will have a different emotional needs, and they might not understand each other, how what other person needs. If they work like with any relationship, guys, if both people work on it, it can over it can do whatever, it can be better. So don't take this for granted. Oh, this won't work, this won't work. It can work, but it takes for both sides to put effort in. What do you think about that before we start, like
Yes,
in general? Yeah.
yeah, I agree with you 100%, Jasmine. It depends as well on your choice, and if you're willing to put in that work too. 100%.
Yeah. So Elko is asking about Virgo and Libra. So that's air and earth. So what are your thoughts on the first glance?
First thought would be both can overthink. Both can overthink. Maybe Virgo on a more practical level, Libra on a more idealistic level. So there could be potential sort of clashes in that. But as Jasmina was
Yeah.
implying there, like it's how you communicate, right? Hey, that could be a thing with Virgo and Libra. There can be that communicative piece, and if they can communicate what they want or their view, and come together, then yeah, that could work.
Yeah. Yeah, as you mentioned, it's not about sun signs. It's more about other deeper layers. So we
Mhm.
look at moon, we look at Mars and Venus. It's where the passion is, those are the lovers, and then Mercury is important to how is, as you mentioned, how we communicate. So there's a bunch of other stuff there. Like personal planets, they're most important, right? So anyway. Okay, so we
Mhm.
have more questions before we started. I love this. Thank you, Valentina. What happens when our Chiron in Synastry chart share the same house, eighth house for both? Well, that can be good because you can understand your wounds. You have like because with Chiron is you cannot heal yourself, but if you help somebody else work with their and try, work with their wounds, then you can heal yourself. So in that sense, this is good because you might have the same placement and you can understand, you can help each other heal in that sense. So what would you say?
Yeah, even just to slightly counteract that, though, I would maybe suggest to try and not depend on each other either to heal each other. Do you know what I mean? Because there can maybe be that trickery, if you will. With Chiron, it's like, okay, still bring it within, and it's also your stuff. It's important not to kind of project that perhaps onto the other person.
Oh, that's a very good point. Absolutely, I agree. Yeah. Because sometimes we just wanna, yeah, I agree. Also, before before we start, so when we look at synastry, we have to understand first the natal charts of both people, because we are all individuals and we function in this world within our own, realm of how we are set up. So it's very important to understand how each one of us works independently, because that's how we're gonna put that part of us in the relationship as well, right? So that is very important before we go deeper to understand that. Okay, Hannah, while I look for, I want to say hi everybody on Instagram as well who is watching, and I'm gonna start share my screen to see how this will work. Okay, now I have to figure out what am I doing. I'm sharing ourselves now, right? Okay, yes. Oh my lord, that's me with technology, guys. That's me with technology. So what are we gonna? Okay, let me see which one I wanna share first. I think this one is a good one. Let me open this one up. Anyway, while we wait for my things, you can talk about Synastry in general while my technology. Okay,
Well, I'll just say what I prefer to do when it comes to Synastry, even just explain a little bit so you can have the overlay where you have, oh, here we go. Here we go.
huh? Do you see this? Does this make sense to you? So what I did here, this is Blake inside, Ryan on the outer wheel, and here we have vice versa, Ryan in and then Blake on the other. So we can see how because it's always about one person, how they relate to others. So we have to see what is one person doing to another. It's not the same thing, let's per se. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, we'll talk about it anyway. Go. Do you see? First of all, do you see this, or is it not big enough? That's my question.
Well, the viewer wise for me, I do find the symbols to be very small, but I do
Okay.
have. I know obviously for viewer purposes that might be difficult, but for me personally, I do have these charts already saved, so I can go off those no problem.
Okay.
Maybe if I enlarge the screen, that might help. When
Okay.
I
Maybe
make the
maybe I
screen
can
bigger, it helps.
see this. Oh no, I can do this. Zoom in. This one first. How about that? And then
Ah,
okay. See, I can do
okay.
this. Okay, this first one, guys. This is a Blake is inside, and then Ryan is on the outer wheel. And before we dive in, Hannah, I'm gonna give this word to you just to see what Elko is saying. I have in first house Libra, Thallium, Ascendant, Saturn, Mercury, Pluto, and you're in Uranus. Very Libra person. Okay, that's very nice. You're very in harmony with others and one piece and harmony. That's very good. I like that. Cool. Okay, what would you say first about this? You're my guest. I'll give you first shot on this one.
Okay. So let's see. Well, the first thing, one of the first things that jumped out to me is that Blake Lively has a Leo rising. So for Blake Lively, she's very glamorous. I mean, she's stunning, beautiful. The hair, the hallmark hair, to do with Leo. But Ryan Reynolds, he has Saturn in Leo, and it's right on her ascendant. And the significant thing about that is, so in Ryan's chart, he has Capricorn in the 5th house. So the 5th house is about love and romance. So Saturn then and Capricorn suggests commitment and a long lasting relationship. So to me, with his ruler of the 5th, being conjunct her ascendant so tightly, especially, it suggests a long-lasting relationship. It suggests we're going to take this relationship seriously and we're going to commit to each other.
I absolutely agree. And he is older than her 11 years. So that's also suggests that, a maturity in a partner, you know. So I like that. That's absolutely cool. That's the first thing. That's very notable. Yeah. So I have just a cheat sheet here. What Saturn can be in a relationship is how relationships also holds me back, because Saturn is about restriction. How I create a safe container within the structure of a relationship as well. So I do feel that, with Saturn being on her ascendant, she does feel safe. Like she has like a safe container with him.
Mm,
Yeah. I think
I like
that's
that.
very good. Yeah. And of course, she's beautiful. She has Venus Sun conjunction. I find that people with Venus Sun conjunctions are very, very beautiful. That's really, yeah. Yeah. She has this whole stellium in Virgo, and he has the whole stellium in Scorpio, right? So
Mm,
let's say water and earth go together, right? She needs his water to to stay fertile. Oh, oops, they have kids. But anyway, so I would look at the moons first. So she has Virgo moon. This is not the best position, because it can be overly critical and analytical and picky and just has this need to have everything in order, right? Literally
mhm,
everyday order. And he has a Scorpio moon, right? Which is more deep, intense, longs for this intimacy, right? So how would
mhm,
you? But they go together because water and earth go together. So how would you? It's very interesting to have these stelliums with all these with moons
mhm.
actually together and suns in the same sign. Like
Yeah.
both new moon babies. How would you? What do you have to say about that?
Yeah, it's very dynamic. I feel it's a very dynamic relationship. Just yeah, that Virgo dominant with a Scorpio dominant. Um, I
Mm,
think this relationship suggests that they both keep to themselves, right? They both value their privacy, and perhaps as well they can really like dive into discussions together, and no conversation is too much, and they're willing to even discuss their differences, and there is that, I think there is that strong desire to want to help each other, to want to sort of be there to support each other, with the sextiles between the moon, and well, not by degree but by sign, but with Mars as well then, because their Mars signs are with the same. So for Blake, she's got Mars in Virgo, and then for Ryan, Mars and Scorpio. So there also seems to be that dynamic energy too. There's just so much passion, I feel, and there's an intimate bond between them that I feel they share. What I'm kind of getting from this is they don't even necessarily have to say a word and they just get it. That's what I find anyway with Scorpio energy. It just needs to be a look, a
yes.
certain signal, and already, I reckon whenever they first met, and obviously this is just pure speculation, whenever they met, it was just a glance, a look, a signal like, come here, I'm into you.
Yeah, they have this specific humor between them, right? They always do pranks with each other. So where do you feel that comes from? Because I find it, Scorpios are not a pranksters per se, right? Not Virgos as well. So I was curious, is that where do you feel that comes from? Because they have this understanding of each other in a humorous way. What do you feel? I think he. So what is she? She has a Jupiter in Aries last degree, so
Mhm.
that's very out there spoken. Jupiter is laughter for me and fun. So last degree is when you pull everything in it, and Aries just says it, right? You can see that, right?
Yeah. And he has Venus in Sagittarius. So
Oh yeah.
when it comes to love, I think he is attracted, and he values women who are quite humorous and who can also challenge him a little bit, maybe
Mm,
even with the because she has also Uranus, Saturn, and Ceres in Sagittarius. And then they're in her 5th house. So then with him, his Venus falls within her 5th house. So there seems to be that kind of playfulness, that, as you know, saying that kind of laughter. I just think there's that fun, that freedom. I think they give each other that space and that freedom. But it was, it was funny. Like I didn't realize, but he was married to Scarlett Johansson, and apparently one of the reasons why they divorced, and of course this again it's just speculation, was because she was so much about freedom, right? And she has Mars in Aquarius, so I feel like she was a bit more like non-traditional, if you will. And when I looked at their charts, I thought, oh, they would make a good match, because she has Sagittarius energy, Capricorn energy, then he has these similar sort of signatures as well. But maybe for Ryan and Blake, I think, has that sort of freedom, adventurous side to her, but she also has more of that, like, how do I say, with the Virgo, that stability, that just more of a simpler life. It's not super chaotic. I think she values, she really values to feel secure with all that Virgo in her 2nd house.
Yeah, I'm just going to pull. Yes, that is absolutely cool. I just want to pull vice versa to show something else from other side. So when Ryan is in the inner wheel and Blake is on the other, you can see her moon, or her moon is, it's not that near, but it's still right here in his 12th house. Like all this, you would put it in a first in a whole sign, but I still feel that there is like a deeper connection on subconscious level. You know what I'm saying? Like Ceres is and catching the moon. It's like there's like this nurturing, like feeling at home. I do feel that he feels at home with her. Like she can nurture him. Her moon on his Ceres. I feel there's deep, like, and something that is just, as you said, he saw her. That was it, right? So I just find that interesting, that connection. Okay, we see some. I just want to see what other people are saying. So Jeannie says, I like that the moon falls in the 4th house, vice versa on the other chart. They can be nurturing at home and in private. Yes, that was here. I'm going to play with this. There you go. So it's the 3rd, 4th, depending on which house system we use. Yes, there is. It's on the cusps anyway, so it's very close. In her 4th house, that's right. So what do you feel about this connection? Do you think this is tight? Uranus and Pluto are tight, but Moon is also here. So what do you feel about that?
With the Uranus part of it, with the Moon and Pluto,
yeah.
Well, when I think about the fact that they have children together, and I often think of 4th house energy as well, the area being, yes, our upbringing, but also the type of family that we may go on to actually create, later on in life. When I think of it like that, there is that desire. There is perhaps many sort of renewals that they have went through as a couple, kind of even opening up together, being vulnerable. I feel like they have a really good emotional bond, but like in surprising ways, with that Uranus energy, maybe really surprising each other, shocking each other, with information about their past, maybe, especially on Blake's part, because, she has that Pluto in the 4th and the Scorpio in the 4th. So maybe together, whilst, she's perhaps opened up and so has he, then they have unraveled many mysteries, and maybe they've kind of recognized, oh, I didn't realize, right, that you had been through that, and then it creates that greater bond together.
That's such a great point, because what is Uranus? Uranus is awakener. He's the one who tells, oh, I didn't know exactly what you said right now. This is what Uranus does. Oh, wow. It's like a eureka moment, right? With them. That was like, oh, yeah, I can rely on this person. And he does also, although he's a Scorpio and needs this deep intimacy, he needs this freedom, because Uranus and Mars together with the moon there, right? It's always about, being, having independence within the relationship. I think they both need it, and, they both understand that with each other. So I think that's very good. It's very good. So I know that Mars, I'm maybe stepping all over, but I noticed that Mars and Venus are in a square. His Venus and her Mars are in a tight square, 2-degree orb, right? See,
Mhm.
Virgo and Sag. So when we have this kind of connections, I know guys we think, oh, square doesn't work. Actually, it's very passionate in my opinion. It's what keeps them going because they're always going to have this. I think that's why they pick each other, and then they end
Mm.
up in a bed making it up. I think that's what it is. I think that's what a square does. How do you feel the square works in the synastry for lovers,
Hmm.
in a lover's perspective?
Lover's perspective. Well, it could be that there is a clash sometimes over the person with who's the person has Mars there. There could be their wants and their
Mhm.
desires, their way of doing things, versus the Venus person. And the Venus person, it's more about what they value and their pleasures and stuff like that. So in the case of these two, I think of how so Ryan has Sagittarius in the fourth with Venus there, and then with her Mars, her Mars would make that square to his Venus. So I think this. I don't. I'm trying to be mindful of how I word this.
Okay.
Perhaps she has helped calm him down a little bit, and I don't mean to sound it where like she's taken away
Hmm.
his freedom and stuff like that. I just think maybe what he saw in her was that's the woman I want to settle down with. Right? It's like instead, maybe with the Venus and Sagittarius being here, there, and everywhere, she anchored him in a lot of ways, perhaps. And then, yeah.
Yeah, I think she grounded him because I think with him
Mm,
in his chart, the only like he has Virgo rising, right, and only Jupiter in
mhm,
Earth, so that's not a lot, to be. So I think with her Earth
mm,
stellium, I think she grounded him, and I think he needed he felt that, oh yeah, I can really, as you said, I can settle down with her. That's exactly what he felt, and I love it. I love that. That's beautiful. Yeah, because actually all of her Mars, Sun, and Venus, even her Mercury, everything is squaring his Venus in Sag. So his Venus in Sag is
yeah.
like attacked, like from her stellium. He's like, but I guess it's a playful Venus, so she likes that maybe, Oh, look, so all this, So I think that's very good. Yeah, and then they have this, so that's what I want to mention. He was a eclipse baby, right? Look, he was born during the solar eclipse because his sun and moon are together with the. So he was an eclipse baby.
Ah,
Yeah, so that's why he's very out there, and he's this Scorpio is very deep in him, before the eclipse. So
mm,
he is a true Scorpio. Although he has this mysterious look when you look at him, actually, right? When he has
yeah,
that, you want to kind of like, oh, what is behind him? I want to scratch the surface and see.
that's so true. He does.
Yeah, and I think they're a very lovely couple. Very good. Okay, let's see what other people are saying. Elko, in my first house in Libra, it means I can be good relationship with Libra women or not. Um, so you can be. Why not? Libras are good with everybody, so absolutely, you can. It's very hard to talk about your chart, but in general, Libra risings are very good with everybody. Very charming. Okay, Jeannie says about the chart. His Mercury and Sun falls in her third house.
Mhm.
So his Mercury in her. Where is that? This is it. Look at me. I'm through Gemini. If you don't have two charts or two something, it's a true Gemini thing. Going between two charts. It's so Gemini. Okay, so it says his Mercury and Sun falls in her uh, third house. Yeah, it can second or third depending. The sun expression of the inner child and the third house, they can enjoy the communication. That's right. A lot feels like it's Libra, so it carries Venus energy. Yes. And
Mhm.
again, Jeannie says they can have a private sexy life where they do sexy things that are a bit out of the box. Well, with Uranus there, that's true. Pluto being the deep connection, but the Uranus, they probably show up with whips and chains. well, with a Scorpio energy like that, you never know. There's Mars. He has a Mars in Scorpio, so his Mars in Scorpio can do that for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Another connection that I noticed that we maybe want to touch is his Chiron on her Jupiter, and it's exactly like in a few minutes difference. His Chiron on her Jupiter. What do you feel about that? It's interesting that they both have Jupiters in last degree of the sign. So their Jupiters are actually very, very, strong. Last degree, it's like sucking up all the, how do you feel about Chiron Jupiter connection, maybe?
Yeah, because I think with Jupiter can often point toward the husband in the chart. So, I mean, I'm looking at where Aries is, and so he's got the Chiron there. Yeah, there could be something maybe about their beliefs, or even some healing of their beliefs, or healing tied to their beliefs, or maybe even their meaning. Like they may find like a lot of meaning in the relationship, but perhaps that meaning is tied to leadership, their passions. Maybe for Blake, like she is really, really attracted to how passionate leader, like assertive, take charge types of men, and maybe she sees that in him. But because he has Chiron in Aries, whilst it may seem like above the surface he's like that, there could be some sort of hidden insecurities about his ability to be assertive. So it's almost as if she has encouraged it, if you will. Like she sort of helped him work through those particular wounds or fears, or possible rejections. That's just kind of what I think when I see that.
It's very interesting, because it gives you some kind of a optimism, but some kind of hope that I can heal. You know what I'm saying? Like some kind of hope. And the real world itself says, or their relationships help to heal him. That's a very good one. And I do feel that they have a connection, because her Jupiter and the South Node, they're like 3 degrees apart. So there is maybe a connection from previous lives. I wouldn't go past it. Right?
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, past lives.
Especially if Jupiter shows your husband in a chart, right? So this means that there might, that she know him. Maybe they were married in previous lives even. So they're coming together. I mean, I'm just going out there. This is like my imagination. We have Sun sextile Neptune today, guys. So I'm like, I'm putting it out there. It could be that they were, and they just came to kind of finish it up or wrap it up in a nice way, which that's how it feels. I feel that they know each other, or like they look so good together. I don't know, the way they appear, at least to us, right? Karmic for sure. Yes, karmic for sure.
Yes, definitely karmic.
Yeah. So the nodes. So when we have when the nodes touch any of our planets, it says, I have a note here, how we activate karmic ties within in my partner, a soul connection, right? So I think there's some kind of activation for sure with them. Interesting that Blake's nodes are reversal from mine. Interesting. Anyway, so this is nothing to do, but I have a synastry with her probably. I'm just thinking because we have reversal nodes. Anyway, maybe I knew her from
maybe you're besties in a past life.
Well, I like her. To be honest, I like her. I don't know. I like her.
Me too.
Yeah, I like him as well. I like them I like them both. Personally, I don't know them, but how they appear to us, I think they're very, very. They're a good example of how maybe a celebrity couple should be. At least so far. I hope you don't jinx them, but anyway, because she's going to have her nodal reverse. She's going to nodal come back. How do you say that? Nodal return
Return.
end of the year.
Mm.
End of the year. So something might happen, you know, in her life,
Mm.
something significant, right? And for him, all the eclipses are always interesting, so he's an eclipse baby, so he feels eclipses, and eclipses are happening on her node. So maybe there's a story, a karmic story this year with them. Maybe I'm just going over too much out there, but
Mm.
yeah, okay. What Jeannie says, that what I thought, she can help expand and being him enlightenment in regards to Chiron wound. Jupiter is the archetype of a teacher, so she helps him figure out how to turn that wound into, yes, a teacher.
Yeah, I like that.
A gift he can use. That's right. What else? And the fact that the other Jupiter hits the south node, she may have been supported from him in past lives. That's right. And she pushed him out of the comfort zone on his south node crutches. Yes. I think they had a good relationship even in the past, I feel. So I think they just came together to maybe finish it up as a story, as a beautiful love story in this lifetime.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. As I'm saying, I'm very romantic today. Like this Neptune Sun sex, I'm feeling it because I have, when they say when you have some natal placements, like I have Sun opposite Neptune in my chart, but when they meet up in the sky, you can feel that more in that sense. So anyway, okay, another thing I want to touch. So look at that. So his Neptune on her Saturn. So is he softening her Saturn arc? So Neptune is how I spiritualize my partner, how I use illusion to create relationship. Maybe he's softening his up. He's maybe more romantic and dissolving her structure in a way. What do you feel about that one? Because it's very
Yes,
close.
I really like that. I agree with that. And I think what I wrote down for Neptune is okay. So his Neptune in her fifth, but then there's that trine to her ascendant as well in Leo.
Yes.
So it's like
yes.
it's almost as if there was that fantasy that there is beauty, right? Because Neptune can be representative of being rather beautiful too. So it's almost as if he really maybe idealized her a little bit or kind of fell head over heels for her, so it's like, wow, she's she is stunning, and she is, but then with even the fifth house influence, yeah, I agree with you 100%, Jasmina. That kind of the Saturnian feel. Maybe the thing about Blake Lively is, even though, like, yes, she is absolutely beautiful and she's very talented and very smart, because I'm pretty sure she was standing up for the rights of children not too long ago. I can't remember, there was something on the news. But anyway, perhaps she has also struggled with self-expression. She struggled with her individuality. And maybe in a way, Ryan has, I like that kind of softer, that more, that sweet sort of touch, and just sort of reminding her, that she's special and she's so loved, right? There's that compassion, even, I think, with he has Venus and Neptune there. So yeah, a lot of love and being generous, with Venus in Sagittarius, very generous people. So it just never runs out of the compliments, I'm sure, or just the expressions, the tokens of his love toward her.
Yeah, that's so lovely. I know. She, when you mentioned her self-expression, she has Chiron in Gemini in 11th house. So there is always, this wound of not being heard, or cannot people not hear me, or I can't express myself. So, there's like Uranus opposing it. It's 5 degrees, but I would still take it. Maybe, as you said, woke her up, shaken her, and you can be yourself. You can speak up. I like that. So. The wheeled world itself says they both lovely as a couple and appear to have a healthy relationship, especially after his very public cheating on Scarlett Johansson and public breakup. Oh, I wasn't paying attention on that one, to be honest. Okay. Well, he's a Scorpio, so couldn't it possibly be that he has manipulated her in order to cross her boundaries? I don't by any means suggest that is the case, but on the darker side, could that be the possibility? Well,
Mm.
with Scorpios, we can always talk about manipulation, right? Because with a strong Scorpio stellium, we can always go on the darker side that they are manipulating things. But I don't know. I don't know. He does have Pluto Mercury. It's 8 degrees. It's not that far away. I'm thinking what can suggest that. I think he really he needs that intimate that trust. I think that's all about trust. So I think he feels he can trust her, and I think that's so. I don't think he would want to be in a relationship with somebody he cannot trust. Even if he manipulated somebody into something, if it's not genuine deep connection, I don't think he would be comfortable with it. He needs to trust. The trust is number one for him. He has Pluto, Mercury, like it's 8 degrees, but it's still there, and all these things in Scorpio. I think it's all about I think he feels he can trust her, and I think that's what keeps him in the relationships. And I think she feels herself with him secure, right? Because all these Virgo placements can be a lot of anxiety, a lot of issues with self-criticism. Because the Venus is also there, not feeling good enough, pretty enough, over analyzing how I feel, what do I want, how do I act. There's a lot of Virgo energy there, right? So her putting herself into service or doing her stuff, for the relationship, being useful, and she feels good, and maybe that's the connection. How do you feel?
Well, so I like to look at Juno. We're exploring relationships as well, because with Juno,
Good point.
is can tell us about the marriage. Yeah. So for him, he has Juno and Mercury in Libra.
Yeah.
So it's interesting because he has all this Scorpio energy, of course, but his mentality is about partnership. It's about collaboration, being able to sort of compromise when you need to reach a compromise. And Juno further sort of heightens that, I think. And then that energy falls within her third house of communication. Even just thinking about, for example, where to live, because I kind of think of even third house territory as that local area, right? So the city that they live in, I'm not sure where they live, maybe Los Angeles or something, possibly. I don't know.
Probably, yeah.
But it's sort of like, if there's any moves or anything, events throughout LA, whatever, I can see it as him really taking into consideration, oh, well, what do you want to do? And then she's like, oh, well, what do you want? There's just more of that ability to communicate in an effective way where both parties feel like they're being heard. And if that ever does, if there is any tension in that way, then it is about how can they try to reach a bit of a nice healthy balance there. I suppose in that way, her Jupiter is opposing that energy. I haven't actually looked at the strength of the degrees, but I see Jupiter
It's
across the way.
5 degrees. 5 degrees is opposition is 5 degrees. Yeah.
Okay.
Which is decent. I mean, it's strong enough.
Yeah. So there could maybe be a little bit of that, like perhaps that push and pull, and that's the thing. Push and pull between me versus we, when your individuality versus like the pair or the couple. But again, the thing about that is with opposition, squares, and everything, it's about how you both come together and communicate what your needs are. And then for her Juno is in Aquarius, so they've both got Juno in air signs, right?
Yes.
So I think
trining. There's another trine between Junos.
Yeah.
Right.
See, that's
So there's really good I think, as you said, communication, because air is all about communicating and relating, understanding, and about others, and how we relate with others. I like that. So for her, I think, because she does need this freedom with Juno in Aquarius in her seventh house, she does need that freedom. I think he gives them. He gives her the freedom. It's interesting. He does, with all this Scorpionic energy, he still gives her enough freedom to be herself within the relationship, and I think that's what's holding them together. Maybe because his Uranus is just between the Moon and the Mars, so that's maybe it lightens up that Scorpionic energy. Maybe it's kind of dissolves it a little bit in a sense, or it helps. Yeah, I think. But he has that dark humor, which is also there, so picking each other. Interesting. Yeah, so Junos are compatible. That's a very good point. And we also talked about the series connections already. That's a good one. What else? Yeah, interesting. Her series is in Leo. So that's actually a good position. She really, needs to be, needs that attention to feel nurtured and cared for. Although his Moon is squaring this, I think it's still good. Because there is a connection. So it's better some kind of connection than no connection at all. If they don't see each other, then it will be a problem. If those planets don't see each other and all don't make connections, then it's a problem. But they make. So that's what in Synastry, what I find very interesting. You need to have this, some kind of connections with Moon, Sun, Venus, Mars. They need to have some kind of aspect between each other. Otherwise, it's not there. So even if it's hard, it's still workable, right? So yeah, interesting. Okay, let's just another little look on the other way around. So yeah, so for you it's a bit different. This is not a whole sign house, but yeah, look at that ascendant. Yeah, we talked about it. So it's in her 11th house. It could be 11 or 12. So where he shows up, he's ascendant in her 11th or 12th. So when we have ascendant, descendant, it says the shape of my relationship connector, how I project onto the others. That's what I have written down.
Oh, so are you saying then the ascendant for Blake is located in Ryan's 11th house?
Yes. Or 12, depending if you look at the whole sign. So it could be 11 or 12. We can discuss both. So so that can be that he's a friend and somebody who gives her this psychological deep support. Can be both in that sense. That's how I would. What is the relationship connector? Where does it show up? He shows up as a friend. I mean, right? That's no for him. Sorry, for him, she's a friend. Sorry. So this is his chart. So her ascendant, apologies, fall into his 11th. Okay, or it could be 12th if you look at the whole sign. So for him, she appears as a friend, somebody he can trust, somebody who understands him deep in this deep, mysterious ways, right? This is the connector. And vice versa, we had his ascendant falling in her first or second house, depending. No, it's the second house. Sorry, she's the rising in her second house. So for her, he appears as somebody who gives material security, or there's a connection, right? When the ascendant falls in, so she feels secure with him, and he feels he has a friend within her. So that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Just a thought. Anyway, what else would you want to look at? What do you have in your notes? I'll let you now choose.
Well, I thought it was interesting that. Sorry, I'm trying to hold back a cough. I'm like, don't cough.
Go ahead. Take a sip of water. We have time. Take a sip of water. Don't worry. Take a sip of water. Don't worry. Yeah.
But
mental connections.
yeah, so I find so for her, Ceres and Uranus fall within his. Well, of course, this is just whole sign stuff, but of course, from other angles it can be different. But they fall within the fourth for sorry, I got mixed up there.
So
Sorry,
her
her fall
series.
within his fourth. Yes, thank you. Within his fourth, and then for his
Okay, here it
Uranus
is.
falls within her fourth. So there's that Uranus sort of
Yeah, yes,
connection, I think, for both of them with
there
that
it
fourth
is.
house activation. Um,
Hmm. So
but yeah,
that's
so I
that's
think
her inside. Yes, and his series in her fourth. That's what you're saying. His Uranus, right? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yes,
Okay,
yes.
okay.
So there's that freedom piece. There is that even just, do you know what? I kind of think Uranus as well can show up as being quite quirky and quite eccentric. So there's that. I think they have maybe their family, right? The family that they have, quite eccentric, non-conforming. Maybe just the freedom of expression for their children. Maybe that's what they both really, really want, and that's what they both really appreciate within their marriage, within their family. It's like we want our children to sort of be able to express themselves and, to feel like they can be themselves authentically. And then also series that influence in the fourth, I like that because it creates that attachment. I often think of series as it developing an emotional attachment to someone or something. So there is that attachment in terms of, okay, that safety, right? Feeling safe, feeling emotionally secure, emotionally supported. I like the fourth house influences. But then again, with Uranus, maybe the unexpected as well. Perhaps they have had to kind of switch things up, change things about, and it's all just happened so suddenly. I mean, I think Blake Lively has had 4 children so far, right? So that's four
Yes,
children in the space of 12 years. So like there's just a lot. There's a lot happening,
yes,
they
yes.
constantly readjust.
I agree. So although he has all this fixed energy, he has a lot of fixity, and Taurus, Scorpio, like he has a lot of fixed energy in his chart. So but his angles are mutable. So he needs to find a way to adapt, because angles are it's our environment, right? So it's our environment for him. All he's very fixed, and he stands his ground. His environment, the way he life plays out, he needs to find a way to adapt, to accept the changes. And because she's so mutable, she's helping with that, because uh, you know because her it's so interesting. She's very mutable, but she has fixed angles. So although she's very adaptable as a person, the situation in her life um, force her to be more grounded, stand her ground, be stable. So he helps her with that. I think I find it interesting, how they help each other, you know, um, adopt in the environment they live in with their personalities. Okay, so that's how I would look at, when you look at somebody, angles for me are how our life, you know for me it's the same. I'm mutable. I have mutable angles. For me, everything is a change all the time. But for somebody, like for her being mutable in a fixed world, right? It's. Oh, so the veiled world itself says that they have 3 kids. I thought there were 4: James, Inez, and Betty. But I have 3 little ones, and I had it all in a 5-year period, and 3 may as well be 20. That's I can agree. I have 1, and I think it's too much. So anyway, but they're handling their parenthood very good. I think. I think she's being an authority to her kids in a way. So as long as she's an authority and he's a friend, I think their kids are going to be happy in that sense. Yeah. Anyway, that's interesting. What else? What else can we say? What else can we say? Tell
Well,
me.
do you know what? This is what came to my mind earlier. I can't remember. There was someone from the audience was said something about sexually speaking, and
Yes.
whenever that came up, what was in my mind was, okay, so Mars and Virgo with Mars and Scorpio, I often think of someone who, well, Mars and Scorpio energy as like like the dominant, right? I will dominate you kind of stuff. And then Mars and Virgo is more like submissive, perhaps.
Yes.
So there
Yeah.
can maybe be a bit of that kind of submissive, dominant energy, but just more through their sexual desires, their sexual fantasies, whenever it's just, they're in their privacy. And I think a lot of that has to do though with trust. And then as well, maybe for Blake, she's very big on hygiene, right? Like, we need to also make sure that the sheets are clean, and sexual stuff, right? Very particular about those things as well. And maybe she's very specific about the way she likes to be touched, I don't know, but maybe I shouldn't go too deeply into like sexual things, because I don't know, I don't want to like weird anybody out or anything like that, but just a couple of things.
But yeah. In general, I do feel that their sex life is very good with this combination with Virgo and Scorpio. I think it is. And, she also has a Venus there. So Venus is how we receive. Like Venus is, okay, how I love my partner, what I'm attracted and how I attract. So, he's Virgo rising. So he appears like he feels very appealing to her because, that's what she sees. She's first thing you see the rising sign, right? So with all her Virgo stellium was like, oh my God, right? And I think that's, and he has Virgo, Ceres in Virgo. So the way he nurtures stuff is also very familiar to her. There is this connection, right? There's this Virgo connection with them that I feel that helps a lot, right? And her IC, the Uranus, his Uranus and Mars conjunctions on her IC. So he brings that excitement in the home. He is the one who, because Uranus Mars connections are, think about bungee jumpers and stuntmen and so imagine in her home it can be wild and unpredictable, but I think she likes that. I think she needs a little bit of that, right? Right? That's what I feel.
Definitely. Yeah.
And it's on her angle. It's on her angle. It's touching her angle right away. So yeah, there's excitement from him. He's very excited. I think excitement. He brings that in her.
Yeah, and who knows? Maybe maybe she was the one who pursued him. If she's got Mars and everything, and like, if he's got a Virgo rising and then that Mars influence with his Virgo rising, maybe she was the one who was like, "You're gonna be mine," kind of thing. I don't know.
But don't forget, they're both actors, right? So they, I think they use their acting skills in their love life, in their sexual life, I think, and it benefits them. I think that's a role playing and stuff like that. I think that's also part of it. I feel, I don't know, but that's just my. Okay, so G says the Virgo energy is going to bring a lot of routine that they both align with. That's true. That's true, because he's gonna disrupt a little bit of routine. I think he might sometimes disrupt the routine just because to make it spicy or fun or excitement, right? And then I like that. And Judy says, I don't know nothing about these people. I'm the worst when it comes to knowing about celebs. It's okay. I know her. You know how I know about her? I was watching the Gossip Girl, right? That's how
Gossip Girl, yeah.
Yes, the Gossip Girl. And I really watched it with one of my colleagues from previous work. It was like, when was it? Like 10, 15 years ago, the first Gossip Girl. It was a long time ago, right? So he was into it, and I was like, okay, he was in it. Like my male colleague was into Gossip Girl. So I started watching, and I really loved her. I think she took, her role gracefully, and, anyway, I think she's very nice. Yeah, and Ryan, even his roles, think about his role. He always goes a little bit of, like different, just weird roles sometimes. What was that movie? Is it one of the Marvels? What was his? That one.
Was it Green Hornet?
No, the one.
Was he Green Hornet? I don't know.
I don't know. One of the anyway. So he's always has this weird, roles, and she's more, Anyway. Okay, we'll be talking almost an hour. Let's wrap this up. So what can we say in general? What was the conclusion about this? Where are we?
Well, I gotta say, like, something I like to see when it comes to Synastry in general. I like to see those signatures where Venus or Mars falls within someone's first house or is kind of aligned with their ascendant. In that way, I think that can suggest great attraction. That's at least what I've observed. The Green Lantern. That's it. That's the one.
Yes, yes.
I said the Green
Great,
Hornet.
thank you. Yeah, that's the one. Thank you so much. My description, but he's weird. That's very good description, Jasmina. Yeah, but with the movie, he's weird. Okay. Oh, good. That's a good question. Jeannie says, "How do you finalize a synastry reading?" That's a good. That's a good one. We try to find out how to do it. Well, in general, I would say, just go back to summarize everything what we said. That's how it. And I would say that what challenges did we saw? We talk about challenges a lot. So what overall we feel that they understand each other emotionally. They can communicate good. They have good sexual life. They bring it to each other. But we didn't talk about challenges a lot. Like what can be a challenge within the relationship they can maybe work on, or can be a problem.
Ooh. Well, okay. So I suppose there was that square, as you mentioned, with the Venus and Sagittarius versus that square energy to all of that Virgo. So like
stellium.
Yeah. So Blake Lively has a lot of Virgo. So it could be that she could be very, very particular, right? There could be a certain process to how she does things. And it's like, don't disturb my process. And his Venus in Sagittarius is like, but no, just be free. Just chill. It's fine. Just be free. It's all good. But maybe there could be some of that like friction, because then she kind of gets angry at that, because maybe she says, no, I want to stick at this. Or maybe she even struggles a little bit with perfectionism. That could be a thing for her, right? With that Virgo energy for her, a lot of it, even in her second house, kind of whole sign speaking. But yeah, maybe that perfectionism that energy can be quite, it's challenging to work with, especially for someone with him, who has that Sagittarius influence, even a bit of the Libra influence, who's trying to come in and go, look at the bigger picture, try and see it from the other perspective, and she's just like, no, I'm so focused in on this detail and what I want to do.
And with Leo rising, she needs, to be right in a sense, right? With Leo rising. Right. So I think, I think he as a Virgo rising is more adaptive to her Virgo energy. You know what I'm saying? Like, because, he can understand that. But I think as long as as long as she's loyal and trustworthy and respects his needs, like this, his deep emotional needs, and nurtures them, I think they're going to be fine. Even he will tolerate all her, whatever she's doing. He will make it a joke. I think he will eventually make it a joke, and she will kind of figure out to accept the joke, because she does accept it in a way. So I think that's what it is, But that can be, if they're in their best themselves, then they're going to work perfectly together. If they go to the worst themselves, then it's a problem. Like with anybody else, guys, if you're the worst yourself, sometimes it won't be good. You're picking a fight or you're doing something. It can apply to everybody, So. Anyway, that's a very good point. I like that. I just want to thank Kev, Sherry. Thank you. You're welcome. I'm glad you liked this. Thank you. Okay, and then the world itself. Have either of you looked at their composite chart? Oh, I didn't. Would you look at one before a synastry reading to get more depth to the way their relationship? Or would it be unhelpful? I would. If I had a reading, professional people, a couple coming to me, I would look at both. I would look at composite chart and synastry. I just didn't want to. I just feel like we have time to do all of it today, but we can do composite for somebody else later. Right, Hannah, because we are open to showcase
exactly
different things. Yeah. And then Jeannie, she can have a challenge with her self-worth cause. The stellium creates conflict in the areas of life cause all the planets fight for dominance, but the series of the Ryan hits that stellium and helps nurture. Yes, that's a good point. His Ceres nurture her Virgo. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I love that.
Yeah, very good. I think this is very very good Synastry. I think they work very well together. There's a connection from the past for sure. And yeah, I really do hope they're gonna have a long-lasting marriage. Yeah, yeah. You're welcome. Thank you all. I think we're hitting an hour mark. I think that's it. I think this was lovely.
Sorry.
Yeah,
I was reading that comment. It said J-Lo and Ben Affleck.
Well, if you really want to go there, I don't know. It's gonna be it has to be for private person, because you don't want to know what I think about that. To be honest. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe, yeah, I don't know. If you're up for it, then we can do it. But I don't know. Maybe we can. Maybe I can control myself. I don't know. Anyway, when somebody triggers you, I always feel, okay, why is this person triggering me? And I'm talking about J-Lo, and then I always, whatever. But we can do it, guys. For you, no problem. Thank you, Hannah, very much. Thank you, everybody. I really, really appreciate all your comments here and on Instagram. And thank you, Hannah, again, for this. It was so beautiful. Look at that. Jeannie's up for it, because we can make it a roast, because I don't like it, but that's actually from Bronx. That's a good one. You have a good point, Jeannie. Yes, that's it. Kathy goes, I get it. Okay, guys, now I think we have to do it. Okay, before we sign off, Hannah, tell again people, I know that everybody's following you, Hannah, elsewhere. She's everywhere, not elsewhere. But tell me, what are you having going on right now before we close this? What's happening? Where can people find you, and just a few words?
Yes, thank you so much for today, Jasmina. Loved it, as always. So yeah, you can find me over at Patreon, Hannah's Elsewhere, YouTube, Instagram, all that stuff. And I did recently launched a podcast, so you can find me at Cosmic Check-In Podcast, and you can listen in, hopefully. But yeah, that's what I'm up to at the minute.
Yeah. Don't guys, don't forget to go there and actually go listen to Hannah on her podcast. Rate her 5 stars. She has a giveaway. If you rate her 5 stars, go look at her, like how it's on her socials. Yes, that's amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. I don't have anything special going on. I'm available for bookings, or I'm going to be traveling. I'm going to be in Europe all summer. I'm still going to work, so it's just going to be a little bit different. I'm going to probably be in the bathing suit all summer. You're going to see me live with the cocktail in my hand.
Yes,
it's going to be more really. I'm going to be live, but it's going to be more more. How do you say laissez-faire? Is that a French expression? More laid back. More laid back lives. But then we can do J-Lo in that, because I'm going to be almost in your time zone, Hannah. We can do a night one, like a night for night owls. Like 8-9 o'clock at night, and just do that, like a more unofficially, something more fun. Okay,
awesome.
Well, there you go. Look at that, all these people. Oh, there you go. See.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it. Yeah, thank you so much. Awesome, guys. Hugs and kisses, and see you soon. Bye.
Bye.